Hi, I'm Dr. Felice Gersh, your integrative OBGYN, here to resume my Instagram Live story about leaky gut. I'll do a little bit of a recap, and then I'm going to proceed by talking about what to do about leaky gut. Well, the gut lining consists of a single layer of epithelial cells that are very close together. Each cell is right on top of the other. We call them tight junctions, but they're not fused together. They can't be because you have to have just a tiny bit of space to allow nutrients to pass through from the inside gut, the lumen, where the food would be passing through, and on the other side, the dendritic cells, part of the immune system, have to put their little fingers through, like little antenna, to check on what's going on and then communicate with other immune cells in the gut-associated lymphoid tissue, the GALT, which consists of 70 to 80% of all the immune system of the body, lining the gut. And what happens is when you have an abnormal gut microbiome, the microbial life forms are not what they should be. And there are trillions of microbes that normally reside in the gut, thousands of different species. And they're very critical to our health. We now know that. And we'll talk more about that another day. The critical importance of having a healthy gut microbiome, the products that the gut microbes make, all sorts of neurotransmitters and vitamins and short-chain fatty acids, all of this and more. And they go into creating a healthy person. And when you don't have the right microbial population, which is unfortunately at epidemic levels right now, what happens is that you cease to make this protective mucus coating on the inside lining, protecting that single layer of epithelial cells, the enterocytes, and then you have the inflammation that's within the gut can get right up close to the lining cells and start causing a breakdown of the little fibers that keep these connecting cells tightly next to one another. So they start drifting apart, creating big gaps, and that's where we have an impaired gut barrier or leaky gut. And what happens is toxins that are produced within the gut, partially digested food, parts of microbes or even the microbes themselves can actually pass right into our bodies where the immune system resides, and the immune system goes crazy when this stuff happens, and it can lead to a whole host of problems. There are so many things that can cause this impaired gut barrier. If you eat the wrong foods, like a lot of ultra-processed foods containing weird chemicals, preservatives. If you take a lot of antibiotics, remember, anti means against, biotic, life. They're against life, and not just the bad bacteria, but any bacteria can be killed by antibiotics, and you can kill our good guys, our essential commensal bacteria that we need to survive in a healthy form. So, in addition, when you have hormonal imbalances, if you take birth control pills, that's really a hormonal imbalance. You're not fixing the hormones. You're getting rid of your hormones and replacing them with chemical, non-human hormones, and that affects the gut microbiome as well. When women transition into menopause, they always have an abnormal gut microbiome. If you don't get enough sleep, if you eat at the wrong times, if you have circadian rhythm dysfunction, if you have chronic stress, there's so many things. Of course, if you have an infection in the gut, then, it's like a food poisoning, or you have a gastroenteritis, you have some kind of viral infection or bacterial infection in the gut. All of these things can cause problems with our gut microbial populations, leading to dysbiosis, abnormal gut microbiome, and then you get the leaky gut. So now that you probably know that you probably have a leaky gut, so what are you going to do about it? Number one, eat the right foods to nurture the gut microbiome. Remember, these are living creatures. They need food to survive. So you've got to feed them. You don't make food for them. You actually have to feed them by eating the food. So what should you feed them? They love fiber. What kind of fiber? Every kind of fiber. And they actually love polyphenols. These are I call them the magic sauce that are found in fruits and vegetables. These added special ingredients, these polyphenols, and there's a whole slew of them. So you want to eat across the colors of the rainbow. There are different polyphenols in purple vegetables and fruits, and blue ones, and red ones, and yellow, and orange, and green. So eat the spectrum of colors when you eat your plant matter. Legumes, which some have maligned. They've said, don't eat legumes. Please do eat legumes. Unless you have some special problem with your gut that is so severe that you have to limit fiber for a limited period of time to give a gut rest, so that the gut doesn't have to do much of anything. You're basically almost like in a fasting state, even though you may not be fasting. You're avoiding all fiber. That's a rare situation that you have to do that sort of thing. Only special types of maybe of inflammatory bowel conditions. But assuming you don't have any of that, you want to eat legumes. Legumes are like beans, peas, beans of, like green beans, and lentils. These are delicious and very affordable foods, high sources of protein as well as fiber. And grains, another type of food that's maligned all the time. So whole grains, that means it's not pulverized, it's not processed, it's like you cook it like you cook rice. So there's the ancient grains like amaranth and millet and quinoa and buckwheat, which, by the way, has no wheat in it. It's gluten-free, buckwheat. These are amazing grains. And there's different types of oats that are really great. You don't get oats in a cup that you pour hot water in, and it has chemicals in it, and it's been ultra-processed so that all you have to do is put water in it, and then you eat it. No, you need to get slow-cooking oats, like steel-cut oats, like oat groats. They take a while to cook, and they're amazing food, not just for you, but for your highly critical gut microbes. Now, when you nurture these gut microbes with the right foods, the different plants, don't forget root vegetables, another maligned form of food. Root vegetables are things like parsnips, beets, rutabagas, turnips, onions, carrots. These are amazingly delicious vegetables. You can roast them. That's my favorite way to cook them. You can get so many recipes online. They're fabulous, delicious vegetables. They also have wonderful fiber to feed and nurture your gut microbial population. What do gut microbes not like? They don't like saturated fat. So if you're eating a lot of steak and fatty foods, and I don't mean, remember, I said saturated fat. So that is not the same fat that you'd find in wild salmon or trout or sardines. That's omega-3. That's not saturated. That's in the polyunsaturated family of fats. So saturated fats comes from meat. You can get it in chicken, poultry, lamb, beef. Don't eat too much fatty foods of that sort. Or if you do have any of those foods, please get very lean cuts, okay? And please cut off all visible fat, because you do want to have a little bit of saturated fat in your diet. I'm not anti all saturated fat, a little bit, but not too much. A little bit is just right, because too much actually is harmful to your gut microbial populations. Now, what else can you do? Well, there are certain supplements that can really help to seal the gut. Well, it turns out that vitamin A, preformed vitamin A, is wonderful for helping to seal the gut. So I typically recommend that you don't take overdoses, maybe 10,000 IU just twice a week. Okay, we don't want to overdo it. Now, you can also take carotenoids, the polyphenols that are found in many of the yellows and the orange vegetables. And those you can eat unlimited, okay? Now, some people don't turn them into vitamin A as well as other people. So it's important to take a little bit of preformed vitamin A. Carotenoids are a precursor to vitamin A, but like I said, not everybody has the genetic capability to turn them properly into vitamin A. Also, cod liver oil has vitamin A in it, but make sure you know the source and don't overdo it. So if you take 10,000, I use just twice a week. That's good, along with unlimited carotenoids, which is great. And you can get them in supplement form. And of course, eat those beautiful orange and yellow vegetables. Now, what else? Well, you definitely want to take some L-glutamine. L-glutamine is an amino acid that the enterocytes, those lining cells of your gut, just seem to love. So you definitely want to supplement with L-glutamine. And then there are various what we call demulcents. These are like coating agents. They're soothing to the lining. They include things like marshmallow root and slippery elm. Those are wonderful. So you can get that. And sometimes you can get combinations of all of these. We have them in my practice, and we sell them so that people don't have to buy everything individually. But either way works fine. Now, there's a newer product on the market, which is actually a short-chain fatty acid. That means it's a metabolite of fermentation of the gut microbes, and it's called butyrate. So the microbes in the gut, when they're happy and they have the right food source, they will ferment the fibers and they make products called short-chain fatty acids. There's 3 of them: butyrate, propionate, and acetate. Now, the butyrate has many, many functions. One of the functions is to serve as food for the enterocytes, for the lining cells. So we definitely want to do that. We want to also have a very anti-inflammatory lifestyle. We want to lower stress. We can actually improve the gut by doing mind-body practices like meditation, guided imagery, tapping, and various forms of like walking meditation. There's so many different types. Everyone has to find some way to relax, to increase their parasympathetic, lower their sympathetic output from their autonomic nervous system, because that will lower cortisol. Chronic high cortisol will create leaky gut. Make sure you get plenty of sleep. That's when your body heals. And don't eat more than 3 times a day. Give your gut a little rest during the day, and 13-hour fast from dinner to breakfast. Those little periods of gut rest, and it's a longer period when you go overnight, 13 hours. And then later on, you can consider longer fasts, like the fasting mimicking diet or a water fast for 3 or 4 days. But I always recommend a longer fast or fasting mimicking diet done with a healthcare professional, at least supervising you in some way, because we don't want to have any complications, not ever. So, reduce stress, eat the right foods, eat at the right time, and you take the right supplements, and you can help improve your leaky gut. So be sure that you pay attention to your gut. You recognize the importance of those little microscopic microbes that are so important to every aspect of your health. Leaky gut can be resolved. Take care. Hope to see you soon. Bye.